everybody, it's week 2 here in the garden. This week we're going to be talking a little bit more about soil. We're going to be looking at some of our pest issues that we have going on and talking about getting ready to plant plants in your garden. So come and join us in the garden. So I'm going to add a little bit of compost to one of our beds that we broke up already. And there's some uncomposted material in here still, but down in the center we are starting to get some really good breakdown here. So I'm just gonna grab a shovelful. And then we can just kind of rake this in and just incorporate it with our bed before we plant into it. So just to go a little bit more into depth in what soil actually is. So soil is a mixture of 4 different components. It's about 45% like an inorganic mineral material. It's about 25% actual just air holes, just little pores within the soil structure. And then it's about 25% water. So this can be filling the pores like after a rainstorm, or it can be held in organic matter or held in like fungal networks, and that provides water that's available to plant roots when the rain or the water from your hose, when that's taken up by the roots. So it allows plants to keep getting moisture even when the soil's starting to dry out a little bit. And that is also why this tiny percentage of soil that is organic matter, about 5% or less a lot of times, it's hugely important for retaining moisture for your plants, for providing a ton of fertility for your plants, and that's why we talk about compost all the time, because compost is different than soil. It's not those different constituents, it's just this decaying organic matter. And so when we add that to the soil, we help add that fertility and that water holding capacity. And compost is just a really vital element, just being such a small percentage of what soil is, but provides so many benefits to plants. So the mineral content, or this 45% of soil, is really just broken down aggregates from like the bedrock that's in your area. So here we've got, a lot of like quartz or silica and like granite, and that's broken down, and that's where all the mineral components of our soil are. And in addition, the air pockets, a lot of them kind of in soils that aren't as disturbed as these ones, they form just naturally over time. But a lot of times little burrowing creatures are actually helping to add these little this air and these nice pores to our soil that help it retain more water. So earthworms, nematodes, even little microscopic creatures, or things as large as mice and badgers. They're all kind of helping to create a more open and less compacted soil.
Let's just take a little look here at some pest problems that we're having already in our garden. You can see that the clover here, so this still has its nice leaves on it, and right here it's all been just cut off. We're pretty sure that that's a rabbit. So the good news is we don't really care if it eats our clover, but the bad news is we've noticed that it has started eating our peas. So let's go take a look at that, and then I'll show you how to use remay, which is a way that we could keep the rabbits hopefully out of our crops. So right here you can see we've got some pea plants coming up, but right next to them we have some that have just been completely severed off. The fact that like the whole stem has been cut like that kind of tells us that it's a bigger animal as opposed to an insect pest. If we had just like holes in the leaves, we'd probably suspect an insect, but this is likely something like a rabbit. So one way to keep both insects and mammals away from your crops is to use agricultural fabric, floating row cover, remay. It's all the different names for the same thing, which is a real lightweight fabric. You can see through it, light can get through, and rain and water can also get through. So we're just going to cover our plants with this fabric, and that'll keep the rabbits from being able to eat the shoots. In order to do that, it's a little tricky when it's windy, so it's easier if it's calm, but you need to lay it down so that there's room for the plants to push it up. So we're gonna lay it over the top with a lot of extra space, and then we're just gonna take a shovel and put dirt right along the edge. So you can also use heavy things like rocks or just large chunks of soil to hold down your row cover. The thing is though, you're gonna wanna still put some soil right along this edge, because if the wind comes up underneath here, it's gonna just pull it out from underneath the rocks anyway. So the rocks are gonna help me keep it in place, and then I'm gonna literally just bury this edge. And that's gonna keep any wind from getting in underneath it. So it doesn't have to be a lot of soil on the edge, but it's just gonna hold it down and keep the wind from getting under there. And like I said, you just wanna make sure, see that there's room here for the plants to grow and push up.
So for everybody who is going to pick up their trays, we just really want to emphasize the hardening off process, which is a way to help make sure that your plants are ready for the full sunlight and the full wind of living outside in the field. There is going to be a guide, a hardening off guide, that you're going to receive with your tray of plants if you've got them through our partnership program. Otherwise, if you've grown your own plants from seed or you're getting them from somewhere else, you can reference our video we did last year where we talk about hardening off. It's week number 4. And I just wanted to show you kind of a good space where we would harden off our tray of plants. So initially, we're going to put them up for just a short period of time, somewhere where they're going to be in full sunlight. You can see they're getting some wind blowing them around. And then we're going to want to make sure after they've been out for a bit that we put them somewhere nice and protected. Just so they don't get too dried out or break in the wind or get too much sun and get sunburnt. So, and actually a really nice place here, like I would just tuck them down. They're in the corner, so you can see they're still getting a little bit of wind, but they're gonna be shaded from the sun and they're gonna be shaded from any really big wind gusts. So this is kind of the process that we go through over a couple different days. We're going to put them in the shady spot, in the protected spot, and then bring them out, gradually increasing the amount that we're bringing them out every day so that they get ready to be planted out in the garden.
So it's almost time to start getting our plants in the ground. We'll provide a few resources for you in the comments. Last year we did a video all about getting your transplants in the ground, so we'll link to that. We also talked about some planting guides as far as both spacing, so we'll link to some information on plant spacing, and also on planning your garden if you want to map everything out. So you can look for all of those resources in the comments below the video. Just so folks know, we'll be planting our garden around Memorial Weekend. We're getting really close to planting time, but just remember, if you're going to start putting in your plants that are a little more sensitive, tomatoes, peppers, basil, make sure that you're waiting until toward the end of the month, and then also look at the long-range forecast. Make sure that we're not getting anywhere near any temperatures that are close to frost, even dipping down into the 30s. Just hold off on planting until you don't see any of those kind of temperatures. But we'll be doing ours around Memorial Weekend.
So thanks for joining us this week. As always, if you've got questions or comments, please just put them in the comment box below. Please join us for our monthly happy hours in the garden, which we're having right here at Farm Table, the second Thursday of every month from 6:30 to 8, and you can sign up on the Farm Table website. Also, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to get clued in on videos about gardening, cooking, and other similar topics. And making a donation to help fund videos like these. And we will see you next week.
Thanks, everybody.
See ya.